are collectively telling cafes, pubs, bars and restaurants to close tonight as soon as they reasonably can and not to open tomorrow.
Restaurants, cafes, pubs, clubs, all shut down, no longer by choice, now by command.
In 2018, I quit my job and I started a little business called the Liana Collection that found amazing drinks brands from around the world, imported them and introduced them to bartenders. Bartenders would then put those drinks into cocktails and tell people about them. When Boris Johnson closed down pubs, bars and restaurants in March, our business stopped and our lives changed, as did the lives of every single person working in hospitality. That's 1 in 10 people here in the UK, or 4.5 million people. In May of this year, the Liana Collection came together as a team and we decided to fight back. We created something called the Liana Cocktail Company, which allowed people to have an interactive cocktail experience wherever they are. It kept everybody working with us and everybody getting paid at the end of each month. Along with the release of this film, we're going to release Volume 2 of the interactive cocktail experience from the Liana Cocktail Company. And for this, a percentage of all our sales are going to go towards the Drinks Trust, a charity that helps the people who are going to be most affected and the people that have supported our business from day one, Bartenders. We wanted to show the human impact and we've paired up with 3 bartenders to tell their stories. The buyer for one of the most loved restaurant groups in the country, the young bartender turned entrepreneur, and one of the world's most famous rum bartenders and his story of lockdown love and defiance. Here, we're at Hawksmoor.
Hi, my name is Liam Davey and I am the head of bars at Hawksmoor Restaurants. Today we're going to be drinking a little twist on a margarita made with the wonderful Dangerous Don Mezcal from Oaxaca and Ocho Tequila. Cheers. Hawksmoor is a British steakhouse and cocktail bar. We've been going since 2006 and we currently have 8 restaurants around the UK, 6 of them in London, Edinburgh and Manchester. Hawksmoor employ 800 people roughly in the UK, both in the restaurants and as part of the support team. When COVID first hit, I was finally out getting ready for the opening of our restaurant in New York, which has been some 5 years in the making for what would have been our first restaurant opening outside the UK, which is incredibly exciting. We'd sort of been aware when I first got there that COVID was a thing. They were definitely kind of screening people at airports and people were talking about it a bit, but the subway was still packed, the restaurants were still full. And then during the course of a week, I remember just watching the streets get quieter and quieter every day. And then finally, we had to make the choice about 2 days before we planned to open that we were just going to have to pull the plug on it for the time being, which was pretty tragic at the time because we had to pull the plug indefinitely on a project and also unfortunately let quite a lot of people go. So when I got back to the UK from New York, it all happened pretty suddenly. Sort of jumped on what felt like one of the last planes out of JFK and arrived back in London, which was an incredibly weird feeling. It was just after the government had suggested that people shouldn't go to restaurants or pubs. The restaurants were just getting quieter and quieter every day. There was a huge amount of uncertainty over what the plans were. Everyone was just sort of running around trying to figure out what was going on, and then obviously they mandated the closure and the furlough scheme came along. The impact of a second spike on the UK is potentially devastating or fatal really for the UK bar industry, but it really does depend massively on what kind of support the government is prepared to give. I think the idea of Hawksmoor closing is pretty scary. I think for those people I know who have been made redundant already, and there's quite a few of them, it's a really scary time to be looking for a new job at the moment.
Next, we're in East London at the Natural Philosopher. We've come to meet Josh, a bartender turned entrepreneur, and find out about his story of how he adapted during lockdown.
Hi, I'm Josh Powell and I'm the owner of the Natural Philosopher in East London. I'm drinking a twist on a Cosmopolitan with Ordemus Pink Pepper Gin and Fair Spirits. My personal lockdown experience was quite tough, to be honest. I haven't owned the bar so long, I've only owned it since December. So unfortunately the help wasn't available to me through the government in terms of being able to go on furlough I couldn't get self-employment assistance either. So it's been really difficult, having to shut the bar essentially for 5 months. Nobody knew how long lockdown was going to go on for as well, so I ended up going on universal credit just to try and get by. I couldn't really think too far ahead, just because I didn't know if I would have a bar to come back to. If Natural Philosopher was forced to close, it would devastate me. I've spent the last 11 years of my life building up to owning my own business and to putting something that I'm proud of out into the world. And one day I just woke up and I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I have to do something. I need a creative outlet. I want to do something that I've not done before. And so I started a company called abstractjungle.com as a way to sell clothing, homeware, face masks, jewelry, etc. In a time when I had no idea what to do with my life, really. The support has been really good. It's been a real experience to learn something new and to hopefully give me something to fall back on if things don't end up working out.
Next, we've come to meet one of the world's most famous rum bartenders, and here's his story of lockdown love. Here at one of the world's most famous rum bars, Trailer Happiness.
Hi, I'm Serge, and I'm one of the managers here at Trailer Happiness. So I'm sipping on an apple old-fashioned with Westerho rum from Granada, Aval and Calvados 30 and 40, and Rigo Rogue Bold Red, which is a sweet vermouth. Trailer Happiness has been here for 17 years, and we've won pretty much every imaginable award, from Tales of the Cocktail to Imbibe Drinks of the Year to everything else. But really, our most proud achievement is being a community bar for everybody here. I'm just gonna keep drinking this.
Yeah, for sure.
So my time during lockdown was definitely unique. My fiance at the time, wife now, lives in New York, and I managed to get out on the day they closed the borders between the UK and the US. So I spent 3 months there up until my visa went up. But originally we had our wedding planned for the 1st of April, but for obvious reasons that had to be cancelled. And then towards the end of April, early May, they announced that they'll be doing virtual marriage licenses. We live streamed the wedding on Zoom for about 75, 80 of our friends, which meant all our friends from across the world could be with us. And the day after the wedding, I had to jump on a plane because my visa was up, and I had to come back to London and back to, weird everyday life and the new normal. So we haven't seen each other since then. It's predicted that 3/4 of bars in the US won't reopen again. And I think if we get a second wave, or if government support just disappears here, I'm expecting something similar. If Trailer was forced to close, I don't even know. It's such an institution and has played such an important part in my life. The Drinks Trust is important to support because the grants they're raising and the money they're raising is used to help bartenders, to put money directly into bartenders' pockets. And by supporting the Drinks Trust and supporting companies that work with them, like the Liana Cocktail Co., you're helping out the entire industry, and you're helping people, keep safe, keep fed, not become homeless. It's extremely important.
Ignore for the moment the fact that hospitality is one of the key pillars of our economy. Bars, restaurants, pubs and cafes, and the people behind them, people like Josh, like Serge and like Liam, are so often the focal point to our communities. They're the backdrop to the most important moments of our lives. They're the places where memories are made. This is where we come together to celebrate, to commiserate, to welcome, and sometimes to say goodbye. Tough times are ahead, but I believe we have to do what we can to keep hospitality on its feet. And that's why we've paired with the Drinks Trust. The Drinks Trust are a charity that create grants that go directly towards helping bartenders, waitresses, chefs, and anybody within hospitality financially following the loss of their job due to COVID. And a percentage of the sales of this box, the Liana Cocktail Company Volume 2, will go directly to that charity. Please go online at www.lianacocktailcompany.co.uk and purchase a box. Support our small business, but also support the people within hospitality.